What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and I'm going to keep this pretty short today. Got my good Chelsea jersey on because, yeah, Samsung was the last time. Ever since we switched over, things have just been going from bad to worse. Main issues today are pretty obvious. The Master Tactician got it 100% wrong. I mean, just so many problems with some of the tactics, some of the subs, the starting lineup. So many issues. First of all, great, Fabregas is in. That's awesome. But you've got Ivanovic back in, which doesn't make any sense. You've got Matic in over Oscar, which means now instead of having two more holding midfielders and then one attacking, you've got three more holding midfielders, which means we've got nothing going forward. Fabregas can send that long ball, but you've got Costa and then William Hazard are out wide. You don't even have them tucking in at all. You've got them playing out wide. So Costa's all by himself. He's got nobody to play off of. Matic is too busy holding. Conte's obviously the holding mid. Fabregas sends it up to him. He's got nobody to play with. You don't have Oscar in. You don't have anybody sitting in the middle. You don't have that center attacking mid. You just got three defensive mids. On top of that, Ivanovic, I don't care if Marcus Alonso has only played one game. Ivanovic needs to be benched. Alonso needs to play ahead of him. It doesn't, came in second half, didn't see much from him, but didn't see much wrong from him either. It's one thing to not know a player's on the field. It's another thing to know the player's on the field because he's just screwing up everything he's doing. So I don't understand why Alonso's not on, or even Alonso ahead of Cahill with Ivanovic in the middle, something like that. But I'm going to talk about Cahill now because how can I not? This is 4 games in a row now that he's just made the shittiest errors that a defender can possibly make. And he's still playing. At this point, you've got to be able to put Matic back there. He's played defender before. Chaloba's played defender before. Ivanovic can play center. He's not great, but he doesn't make stupid errors in the back. All of his mistakes are up top. You've got so many options. At this point, I take one of the ball boys over Cahill. I feel like I could go out there. If that's all it takes to be a Chelsea defender at this point is just to give away the ball, I could go out there and do that. It's so frustrating to see him game after game making the same mistakes and nothing's changing. This is 4 games in a row now. We are 4 games removed, 3 games removed from the Swansea game where he made that error, and he's still making the same exact problem. How can you possibly do that as a Premier League defender? You are a professional. You're being paid to play this game, and you're going to keep making the same stupid freaking mistake week after week after week. I don't get it. I do not understand how you could possibly do that. You've got to fine him. You have to. Take away this week's wages. Whatever he's supposed to be paid this week, take him away because he does not deserve them. He does not deserve to be paid whatever he's being paid right now because he's pretty much playing for Arsenal. Arsenal should be paying him, not us. This is ridiculous. All of the goals I can trace back to him. You've got the first goal, which was the most obvious. First of all, that goal changes the game because it's going back and forth. We're trading blows. We're getting up a little bit. They're coming back at us. We're getting up a little. They're coming back at us. As soon as he does that, the entire flow of the game changed. As soon as that happened, it was inevitable that Arsenal was going to get the win today. Because when you're going back and forth like that, when you're challenging, it could go either way. Whoever gets the first goal, they're going to have a bit more momentum. As soon as he gives away the goal like that, you've got demotivated players. You've got Arsenal feeling really motivated because now they're up by 1. And then two minutes later, you've got him and David Luiz not tracking as Walcott just runs right in behind the defense. So easy. It just took a pass out wide, and then they don't track him. He's in behind so easily for the second goal. At that point, it's completely Arsenal's game. Unless Conte made some decisions at halftime, which obviously he didn't, things weren't going to change. And they didn't change. The third goal A little bit of Conte, a little bit of David Luiz, a little bit of Cahill, a little bit of Ivanovic. Conte should do better, shouldn't get turned in the midfield like that. David Luiz and Cahill, they should communicate better. It's 2v2. At this point, you're 2 defenders to 2 attackers. Hold them up, let the players get back, which they wouldn't have gotten back anyway because Ivanovic was oh, they're about to score a third. I don't care. And then Cahill David Luiz steps out to Alexis Sanchez. Cahill's just like, oh, there's a man back there, but I'm focused here. I'm going to be here for some reason. Instead of that man back there who's wide open right now because I'm letting him step off of me, I'm going to go track this man with the ball even though my teammate is right there on him. I'm going to ball watch. And that was the main problem with the defense today. So focused on the ball. That is defending 101. You don't follow the ball. You follow the man. That is so easy. Like, Arsenal's play is so easy to stop if you do it right. They did the exact opposite of what is right. Obviously wrong is it's just too obvious a word. It's too easy a word to say, oh, they did it wrong today. Obviously they did it wrong. They did it the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do. It's not like they didn't follow the ball and didn't follow the man. They kept following the ball. Every time the ball would move, oh, chase the ball, oh, chase the ball, oh, chase the ball. They look like a bunch of little dogs out there, like, ball, 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 ball. That's all it was. It was so easy to pass around them because they're just following the ball. They're chasing the ball. And these are professional players I'm talking about here. This isn't some little kids running around the field. These are professional players that should know better, but the master tactician is supposed to have them doing that. He's supposed to be the one that gets that instilled in their brains that you don't chase the ball. You pressure well together. You pressure, you hold your position, you stay with your man. That's what they've been doing so well up until the Liverpool game. And as soon as they lost to Liverpool, all that just goes out the window. Even against Leicester in the first half, all that went out the window. They have no clue what to do anymore. They're chasing the ball. It's so frustrating to watch, and I don't understand how somebody who is as praised as Conte is for being such a tactician when it comes to play style, how are they still making that same mistake over and over and over and over again? It's frustrating. That's pretty much all I have to say about the team overall. Conte's subs, absolute shit. I mean, there's no better way to say it. Apologize for my language, but I mean, it was god awful. I mean, holy crap. You've got Alonso coming in for Fabregas. We want to try to get a goal. Let's take off one of our better attacking midfielders. Just, that's the term. But honestly, he's the midfielder of the three, Matic, Conte, Fabregas. Which one are you going to expect to set up more goals? Fabregas. So let's take him off, put on another defender, go with a back three with 2 defenders, Ivanovic and Cahill, that are complete shit, and then David Luiz, who is only half shit. And then, the only good thing that comes out of that is now Azpilicueta's on the right side where he belongs. Everything else was just stupid. You took off the wrong player. You changed into a formation that doesn't work when you're 3-0 down. And then on top of that, his next 2 subs, you take off Willian, your hardest working player on the field, and Hazard, your most creative player. Sure, he didn't have a good game today, but I still expect him to do something, anything, to get us back in it. If anybody's going to do it, Hazard's going to be the one to do it. You take both of them off, then put Pedro. As soon as I saw Pedro's coming on, I swear there's a handprint where I smacked my forehead so hard because why? Why is he still being played? I thought after Leicester we learned that he doesn't deserve to be on the field. But obviously we haven't learned our lesson. And then Batshuayi, which it's a great sub. I'd love to see Kostin Batshuayi up top. The problem is you took off the one player, Fabregas, who could actually do something with that. So now you've got 2 strikers doing their best to try to get a goal with no help around them. You've got Pedro, who's not creative enough. You've got Matic and Conte, who aren't creative enough. You took off all of your creative players when you've got 2 strikers on the field. Are you stupid, Conte? It's just so obvious to me. You don't take off all of your creative players. All three, aside from Costa's probably the only creative player left on there. Hazard, Willian, Fabregas. He took off the three most creative players on the field, and then went to the two striker system. Master tactician. I don't see it. I don't see it. After Liverpool, even after Leicester, after today especially, I don't see this master tactician anymore. Now I see a guy who has no damn clue what he's doing. And I'm pissed off because of it. So anyway, done being serious, done being pissed off. Let's talk individuals really fast. Courtois, I don't understand why people are so pissed at him for saying he wants to leave. Do you blame him? I mean, look at what he's got in front of him. You've got Cahill giving away goals. You've got all these defenders that don't defend well, and he's constantly under fire. He's having to try to pull off these incredible saves. You know, and he pulled off a couple today. I don't blame him at all for wanting to leave. If I was a keeper and I had to deal with his back line, hell, I'd want to leave too. So, in my opinion, if the fans turn against him, then he's definitely gone. So I don't understand why all the fans are like, oh, you traitor, blah, 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 blah. I understand what he's saying. I don't want him to leave. I want him to stay. But I don't blame him. And until our defense decides to step up their game, he's going to still feel like that. So somebody yell at Cahill. Why aren't people getting pissed at Cahill for Courtois wanting to leave? Ivanovic, he's awful. Okay, I'm not going to say poor defending. He had a better defensive game than he has in the past, but he gets up so much and doesn't contribute anything to the attack and then doesn't track back well enough. I think he's a worthless player. You know, he'll make a few good stops every now and then, but overall I think he's worthless. He doesn't help us going forward. He hardly helps us on the defense. I don't see a need for him on the field. Cahill, even worse than Ivanovic. You know, giving away a goal is obviously completely just, you shouldn't do it, and to do it two times in 4 games, and then on top of that having just a terrible defensive game overall, I don't understand why he's still in. David Luiz, same as always, poor defensively, great going forward. That's why I should have had a goal off of his through ball. And Azpilicueta, probably one of the few players that are immune from my wrath today, because when you're the only defender that can actually defend well in a back four, it's hard to really criticize him because he's doing everything he possibly can. And by the end of the game, whenever he's diving into challenges and getting beat, I know why. It's because he's dead. You know, he's worked so hard the entire game. I don't blame him. You know, he's one of the few players that I hardly have to criticize because he just works so hard. And it just, by the end of the game, if he's losing out on challenges, it's only because of how hard he's worked up until then. So, Dave, Azpilicueta, whatever you want to call him, I feel really bad for him. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he came out soon and is just like, I want to leave too. Conte, I thought, had a much worse game than he normally has. His passing is not what he's known for, but today what he is known for is tackling, his interceptions. Maybe it was because I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because Arsenal moves the ball around so quickly, but he looked lost. He looked like he didn't know how to tackle today. You know, whenever you got a team that passes the ball quickly, you think just stay with your one man. He's, I guess, so ingrained in I'm going to win the ball. He's just constantly following the ball, and it didn't help us today. You know, that he still put in a few really good tackles, but overall, I was really disappointed with him today. His passing, obviously, like I said, he's not known for his passing, but today it was a little bit worse than it normally is. So, Matic, I'd rather have Oscar. You know, I would much rather have Oscar and Fabregas in there than Matic and Fabregas, if you've already got Conte in there. So, I was really disappointed with him today. Thought he didn't do much for us defensively, and going forward, he's not really much of an attacker. You know, he has these moments where you're just like, ooh, that was nice, and then he does something and loses the ball, and you're just like, oh, never mind, take it back. Fabregas, you know, had a few good balls forward, but overall, I think the fact that he didn't have any. Well, the fact that Costa was the only man to play it forward to really hurt him, and also the fact that Arsenal were pressing really high and nobody was really giving him an option. It's hard. He's the type of player that needs time and space in there. So when you got a team like Arsenal that are pressing quickly, the other players around him have to give him a quick option just in case he doesn't have time to set up the long ball, which he didn't have today. And the players around him didn't give him any options. So I thought he was a little bit limited in what he could do, but like I said, a lot of the problem with him is that he looked for that great through ball, and he found a few of them that were really good, but once it gets up there, all you've got is Costa, and he can't do it all by himself. Especially when you got somebody like Koscielny who's just going to work his ass off to try to stop him because of that little grudge match he's got going. So I don't blame Fabregas for this either. Hazard had a little bit of a weaker game today, still had moments where I'm just like, that's the Hazard I know. But overall, I thought he was very limited because, and actually I'm going to say this about both he and Willian, they both felt very limited today, and I feel like part of that is because I think they were told to stay very, very wide. Like, they hardly cut inside today. And I feel like that has to be Conte's doing. Like, it can't be something that, oh, I'm just going to stay out wide today. Like, you feel like, as a player, you're seeing what's going on. You're seeing that things aren't working. Time to change it up a little bit. Let's cut inside a little bit more. But they didn't ever do that, and I wonder if that's because Conte's just got them so strictly ingrained in their head that I need to stay out wide. I need to stay out wide. I need to stay out wide. If that's the case, then another master tactician failure. Because both of them, they had moments where when they cut inside, it felt like they could do something, and that's when we had our best spells of play throughout the game. So I don't know what it was, but I was really, really disappointed whenever they were taken off with like 20 minutes to go. Like, yeah, William didn't just make two great runs and didn't just make a great interception to, keep us from losing even worse. And then Costa is another player that I feel like is immune to criticism today because he did as much as he could do. Like I said, biggest problem was didn't have anybody to play off of. Batshuayi, Oscar, anybody. The wings coming in a bit tighter. Anybody would have helped him today. But whenever you've got two defenders that love to get stuck in on a challenge and put high pressure on the striker, he needs to have somebody to play off of. But the master tactician didn't seem to think that was a thing today. So I thought he worked as hard as he could. I was very pleased. A bit disappointed with. I feel like there was one shot that I thought he should have done better on. I can't remember what it was. But overall, I mean, I'm happy with his work rate. I hate it for him that he's stuck up there, isolated all alone. But what can you do when your manager doesn't want to make any changes that will possibly help you? Subs that came on, Marcos Alonso, like I said, kind of a non-existent factor. Had a few moments where I'm just like, okay, so that's what he can do. He's got speed and he can move the ball around fairly quickly. Defensively, still haven't seen much from him, so don't really know how much he brings there. But if it means that Ivanovic isn't on the field or Cahill isn't on the field, and it means Spilicueta's on the right side, I'd much rather see Alonso in right now. And I think your defense is this poor. I feel like at some point you've got to make that change. You have to bring him in, and you've got to take off one of your two problem defenders because they can't keep making these same mistakes and go unpunished for it. And then the final two subs, like I said, Pedro, I facepalmed, and he came in and did exactly what I expected him to do. Gave the ball away, worked hard to get it back, most of the time didn't get it back, and then whenever he does have time and space, he's very selfish with it, and not creative enough to take the place of Hazard, or Willian, or Fabregas. So I don't understand that change at all. Moses at least brings you pace, and just this kind of unexpected wild card factor to him. Like, you don't really know what he's going to do. With Pedro, you know what he's going to do. He's going to do a little step over. He's going to try to beat you with pace. As long as you put a body in the way, he's not going to beat you. It's so easy to defend against him. And then finally, Batshuayi, came in 20 minutes to do whatever he could. But if you don't have creative players out there that can deliver the ball in, what is he going to do? The chance that he had probably should have done better with. But when you haven't played many Premier League games and you're playing against Czech, who's probably one of the best keepers in the Premier League right now, it's going to take some time for him to really think, oh, maybe I should chip it over him instead of, trying to go low. So I take the good with the bad as far as he goes. I thought he worked hard, really ran around as much as he could. So I just think a lot of it comes down to the manager's decisions. The subs that he made, some of the tactics that he changed. I think he got it 100% wrong today. And honestly, it should have been 5-0. If Arsenal hadn't tried to be so creative, let's try to get that killer through pass. Let's try to get that fancy little flick. If they hadn't been trying all that stuff in the second half, it would have easily been 5-0 after the switch, the first switch whenever he went to the back three. Like as soon as that happened, I fully expected them to go and get 2 or 3 more goals. But we got lucky that it stayed 3-0. That it's kind of funny to say, we got lucky. It was only 3-0, but that's how it was today. Like Arsenal came to play, and most of it starts from the defense. As soon as the defense lets in those 2 easy goals, the demoralization happens. Players stop. They get down on themselves. They start getting frustrated, and that's where everything goes wrong. So you cut out the mistakes. You cut out that early mistake from Gary Cahill, and we've got a chance to be in this game. We've got a chance to go and win it. That happens, our chances to tie are still in. Our chances to win just got extremely slim. He and David Luiz worked together. Terrible defending on the second goal. Our chances to win are gone. The best thing we can hope for is that Arsenal sit back and try to counter on us. And so maybe now we have more possession, but they're at home. They're not going to do that. Like Liverpool, they did that against us in the second half because they were at Stamford Bridge. Arsenal's at the Emirates. They've already got 2 goals. They're not sitting back. They're going to go and try to get more. And when our defense is playing as poor as it is, they're going to go get more. So, long story short, obviously I'm very frustrated. But a lot of my frustration today is directed at the defensive line, except for Spilicueta and Conte. I think the mixture of just piss-poor defending as a professional player, which shouldn't happen, and then managerial tactics that even a 10-year-old could probably figure out at this point. It's really, really poor. It's embarrassing because these are our London rivals, so to get beat that bad by them is just really embarrassing. And now anytime I see an Arsenal fan, that's all I'm going to hear. Oh, it's the 3-0, ha ha ha. That's all I'm going to hear now. Because that's just how it is. If it's a rival, you don't put in a performance like this. That's all there is to it. So, respect the badge. Go out there and actually play and work hard and play for the team instead of trying to play for yourself. That's it. That's all there is to it. So anyway, those are my thoughts on today's game. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What was your biggest frustration today? Because I know there are several. What was the most frustrating thing? Let me know. We can talk about it, discuss it. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. I'll see you at the next game. Peace out.